Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Go Mode Pod. Welcome to the Go Mode Mentor Tournament. We are here in the fighter bracket. Both John the Breach and Ehseezed both have one win apiece. We are now in a standard form, 7-7 defeat Ganon. I'm Yoko, and joining me is Ezmar. Welcome.
Hello. Yes, we should be having a pretty good match here. Again, another game 3. Those are always exciting. On our tracking, we have DJDarkwingD, who is in fact the runner who the winner of this match is going to be facing. So that's going to be fun. He's going to be keeping a close eye on both of these games. And of course, we have our Restreamer, Jere Dudecia, making this whole thing possible.
So, with this being standard, what item would you like to see in that chest in Link's house?
Well, the chest in Link's house, I always like seeing the lamp there. It's just great, great aghanim hinting, being one of the items logically required to put that in logic. I'm more excited to see what what item our uncle gives us.
Right, and we start off with 20 rupees.
Yeah, so in a standard start with randomized swords as we have here, as you can see in the center of the screen, the uncle is guaranteed to give you an item that can damage enemies. Which item is completely up to chance.
Right, and as we saw with that quick map check, all 3 dungeons in the Light World are crystals.
It's usually a welcome sight because those are usually very fast dungeons. The hammer.
Yep.
Not only is that a useful weapon, but it's a very good item to have.
Oh, it's hammer time. And the fire rod.
Almost as good as the lamp. Not quite.
And John, doing some bomb farming, picks up 2 bombs, as also picked up a bomb as well from killing those guards. So now they don't have to farm as much from the rats and everything in the back part of Escape.
Yeah, that's always good. In the other fighter sword bracket that I actually commented earlier this evening, neither runner was able to get those bombs by the end, so it's going to be these 2 runners are definitely going to be breathing a sigh of relief at the sight of those bombs.
Yeah. One of those sad things when you always have to forfeit those 3 chests and then find a way to route them back in.
Yeah, because you never want to leave 3 chests all at once like that. Not for too long, anyway.
Right. So just finding a small key in the first guarded chest.
Now, interesting to note, we seem to have Princess Peach on the left and Luigi on the right. Is there any significance to that, or is that just a coincidence?
I think that's just a coincidence.
I am always glad to see the superior Mario brother.
Yes. The one that gets no love, but today Luigi's getting all the love today.
Though, to be fair, he has had 3 games of which he was the star. You know, like the Luigi's Mansion series has had 3 installments, which is...
Yes.
It's no mean feat, even for a Mario character.
Right. And one of my favorite games. I had that for the 3DS. I got the remake when that came out.
Let's see what's in Zelda's cell. Another 20 rupees. Fire Rod making quick work of that ball in Chain Guard.
Yep. Now this is something very unusual, a princess saving a princess.
Well, I often play as a Zelda, so that's even better. Like, which one's the real Zelda?
That's like one of those things from Back to the Future.
And not much else to say as both of them head back to the castle antechamber to start the sewer escape.
Yep.
It's kind of one of the reasons that open sort of is generally more favored than standard. Because this opening bit is kind of fun, but after a while it becomes enough of a formality that, you know, it's a little bit of tedium. Though again, you know, that question of, okay, what weapon do you get? Do you get the chance to check those back 3 chests? It can throw wrinkles into the seeds.
Right.
And of course, in Enemizer, it's just a joy. You always love to see an escape sequence with literal usage of the spike rollers.
Right, and there's the power glove.
So this is a fairly stacked standard escape sequence. A lot of the time, you know, you spend these extra 5-6 minutes and just get nothing for it.
John's got to be careful. Done a half a heart right now.
Now, imagining this was an open seed, that glove could have been orphaned for quite some time, but given that this is a standard seed, we find it sort of as a matter of course, so that's going to be very helpful. We do have Dark World access as soon as we find the Moon Pearl. So,
yep.
Aghanim, barring progression item on Lumberjack, is dead, or rather will remain alive.
And nothing but money this time in the back of Escape.
Money is something you like to see early, especially before hitting up Kakariko. An interesting note is we have seen both the small key. Well, of course we've seen the small key, but we have seen the map, so we will be opening the Sanctuary chest and finding 50 more rupees.
A very rich back part of Escape.
That's going to set us up very nicely going into Kakariko. Having found that 300 rupees is nice. You like to have at least, you know, 100 before you sort of come out of the Kakariko well and Blind's Hut, so you can check the bottle vendor. But even with that, that's not going to leave us too scant. We're still going to be sort of within arm's reach of Zora money, especially with that tree pull that Ehseezed just pulled out there.
Alright, and we are getting the check, and it's 300 rupees.
Yeah, I was worried we had looks like a little bit of technical difficulties on the capture there. I was worried we'd miss it. So it would be a secret to everyone, as the thief in the cave likes to say.
Right. John opting to skip that and go right into the Lost Woods.
Sort of a mirror image of the fighters bracket match that we saw earlier. In which case it was the ice rod, so it was actually useful information. But in this case, it's not really going to make much difference.
Nope. 20 rupees where the mushroom was, and another 20 in the cave.
Now, even with that lumberjack check, John is still, you know, maybe 10-15 seconds behind coming into Kakariko because the escape sequence was a little bit slower.
Right. Ehseezed going now into the Thieves' Hut. And there's our fighter sword.
Yeah, a fairly pedestrian Blind's hideout other than that fighter's sword. The hammer is a better weapon, but more difficult to wield.
Right. Alright, in the back part of the, well, bombs.
It's, you know, that's not terrible to see back there, because it keeps your count high. It's not a big deal this time. Sometimes you really like to see it if you still haven't found a real weapon yet. In case you have to do Mini Moldorm Cave with the bombs, you like to have a full pocket.
And there's the boots from the bottom vendor.
Alright, so sub 10 boots, not too shabby. A relatively rare opportunity here is we get to see a library check at the beginning. You usually see a runner walk in and then walk right out after seeing what it is. This time we get to actually pick it up if it's something we want.
Right. And just money today in the chicken hut.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of those 20 rupees. And we have not seen that bottle yet, so Sick Kid is not going to relinquish his prize yet.
And just bombs on top of the library shelf today.
Yeah, you notice you see both runners hesitating for just a little bit. There's a lot of muscle memory leading you to immediately just turn right around and leave, since normally you can't really grab it anyway. But if you have the boots, you want to hesitate just a little bit to make sure you don't walk out of the door away from something you have to go back in for.
Ehseezed making their way down to the South Shore area. So first stop is the dam.
John opting to go for these north side checks here, or maybe simply just not leaving Bonk Rocks until later.
And just bombs for Bonk Rocks.
Yeah, this is. Oh, maybe John's checking the. Oh yeah, now that we have boots, John is deciding to check the lumberjack. This is a reasonable play because you can't pick up that item without the boots anyway, and many a seed has left the boots in GT, so sometimes you don't even really care what this item is. I was a little worried that John was gonna make a really early mountain play. That would have been very questionable, but nah, checking lumberjack. Maybe he's doing that too. This is.
Right. Well, we got the sword, the next level sword on the desert ledge right there.
Yeah, this is an interesting play from John. This only is worth 3 checks. The old man. Actually, it's really only worth 2.5 checks because we only have information on 1. In order to get any further on mountain beyond just 2 checks, we need to find either the mirror or the hook shot on one of them.
Right. And just bomb sing in the back of the closet today. Ehseezed making their way now over to the other side of South Shore.
Yeah, that's by far the more standard route here. We're gonna see in just a second just how large John's cranium is, but I wouldn't have high hopes for this dive myself, especially given that it's out of logic, and also that John died. That's also going to limit the usefulness of this check.
And chat pointing out while we were solely concentrating on John's side of the screen that Ehseezed picked up the hook shot in the dam. And there's our lamp.
So yeah, that yeah, that's actually really terrible for John. Because with the lamp and the hook shot, that not only puts those checks in logic, but also puts right side Death Mountain in logic as well. So John's cranium is not Not very large today.
And 300 rupees for doing our duty of helping the old man up the mountain.
Yeah, that is a risky play. Though I will say that to make a risky play early on isn't okay. I would be disappointed if he tries again.
But takes the death up there, and there is Quake in the Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, Ehseezed definitely getting the better end of this deal. John's going back up. He's going for it. Those cabbages have struck the fear into him. And Ehseezed setting up for that fake flippers to do their own out of logic checks.
Going over to the Zora area.
Now, if this is a mirror, this could still be worth it. It's not. Okay. Yeah, Ehseezed trying to actually set up the water walk there, unfortunately does not have the moon pearl, so it doesn't actually work that way. So he can't check the waterfall fairy chests without either the flippers or the moon pearl to set up the water walk.
Right. Meanwhile, John's going to go pick up their hook shot.
I wonder if John goes back up the mountain after seeing that lamp too. Forgetting the order of those blocks a little bit there.
Another also tip on that, as you're moving that middle block, and if you have the hook shot, you can actually hook shot to the chest and you land on top of the block. And
yeah, it's a little bit tricky. It's like a number of tricks in this game. It's not as free as it looks, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy.
And Ehseezed picking up his 300 rupees from the old man. And he's going to go up the mountain, explore the rest of the mountain.
Yeah, and this is the reason you don't do what John did. Because Ehseezed is definitely going to get to this information a little bit later, but if you look at all the stuff that was accomplished in the meantime, definitely got the better end of the deal.
Yep.
Now Ehseezed is up to speed on the information that John has gained on the mountain, and is set up to go right over to the east side of Death Mountain and hit up those 7 juicy checks in Paradox Cave, as well as the fabled Boots Spiral Cave, the one check everybody loves to do with the boots and hates to do without them.
Right.
Though I'm sure everybody's seen boots on that check enough times that you don't skip it until you have boots. And
there's the Titan's mitts.
Yep, that's it's one thing that's really nice to see is the Titan's mitts on Death Mountain, because that lets you do the whole shebang in one go if you find the moon pearl. Unfortunately, we don't have the moon pearl unless it's in here, so that remains to be seen. We can do Hera,
but with the way things have been going, I would not be surprised if it's here or in Spiral Cave.
There is still one possibility for Aghanim to be in Logic, and that is Moon Pearl on Pyramid Ledge.
Right. Ooh, and missed the bomb jump. And there's the bow with the hobo.
Yeah, Ehseezed didn't do the hobo check. So John has the bow, which puts Eastern Palace in, well, not in logic, but he can do it. So I imagine that's where we see John go now. I don't believe we saw Saha's closet. I guess
not.
John's not going quite yet.
Alright, Ehseezed making their way into the Tower of Terror.
That's a good thing to see, a first item.
Yeah. John, I think John's forgetting he needs the moon pearl for that. And Ehseezed pulling off newer version Stride of the Harapot.
Yeah, that's really, really nice to go for if you've gotten that first item. You know, there's only one left. You get to skip the basement. Green Pendant Ice Palace. There's something. Yeah, as Ehseezed warps forward in time.
Yep, we will never know what was on that chest.
And I don't believe John found anything of note in Sahasrarla's closet.
Nope, just the blue boomerang.
Well, I would say that's notable.
Yeah.
Blue meringue, best meringue.
I'm a team red.
Oh, I see the hammer mold arm coming out. Just 3 hits with the hammer.
Yep, best strat to use on Mordorm.
Yeah, so if I've got the Master Sword and the hammer, I believe it's 3 Master Sword spins as well. So sometimes I go for that just because it's a lot more consistent.
So Ehseezed picking up their first crystal.
If we saw the second item, I imagine we saw the second item on that big
no,
chest.
we did not.
Or didn't we?
No, we did not. We were having technical difficulties.
Yeah, we didn't see it, but I imagine it was the second item, just because we're not seeing them go back in.
Chat's saying it's the blue cane.
No, the blue cane. The blue cane was what John found. I'm talking about in Hera, the big chest in Hera. Because we had some technical difficulties and were unable to see what happened when Ehseezed checked it.
We'll be able to see when he pulls down his item list.
It wouldn't be out of the question to have left an item there if it was in the Hera basement, because you can sometimes make a calculated risk and leave that on its own. Decide it's not worth the time in case it's nothing you need even. So.
That reminds me, I made a calculated gamble once and went to having Hera being a pendant in the seat I was running. Made the calculated gamble of going into the back part of the basement, and it was the item I needed.
Yeah, Hera basement is notorious for holding items that people want to have but don't want to go get.
In this case, it was an item I needed for Go mode.
Yeah, with that book, Ehseezed is going to head right over to Desert Palace. doing a reverse light world dungeon order. Luigi having some tea time as the statues move. John is about to pick up the vanilla big key chest in Eastern.
Sounds like a soap opera name. As the statues move.
Yeah, so I imagine since John went back there and we didn't see an item there. We've seen both dungeon items, so that means that we have an item on Armos Knights. First item in Desert is in the middle chest, 100 rupees.
100 rupees in a chest. And big key, once again, is on top of the torch.
Not an unwelcome sight, since we have the boots. And if we're lucky, this is going to be the other item. And not a small key.
Small key. Should make a quick note here. The music that we're hearing in the background is that from Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link.
Yeah, the oft-maligned entry that people forget. They call it it was a deviation from the formula, but people forget that it was the second game. It wasn't really a formula at that point, and it was a fairly good game in its own right.
Yeah.
Half magic on Armos.
And Ehseezed finding that mirror.
Yeah, and finding that in right side desert is pretty good. I might have considered at that point going back to defeat Landmos and hoping the other item was there, because if it's not, it's just sort of a short walk to go back to get the other items on the right side. But in this case, going the right side first and finding the mirror it's pretty big. Saves a lot of time.
Right. And Ehseezed evolves his sword from fighter to master.
Yeah, so Ehseezed is going to have completed Hera and Desert as John is going up the mountain for the first time, or second time really, going to this side for the first time, and is going to be clearing Hera himself, and also has Eastern under his belt. So we're going to be clearing up these Light World dungeons. We've got to be seeing the Moon Pearl at some point.
If it's not here, and we know it's not in Eastern, that means we are looking at a Ehseezed.
Yeah, we didn't see either runner. I think John may have been about to go check Zora, but took the death to that Zora fireball. I'm not up on my fake flippers tech, so I'm not sure if that was intentional set up for something or not.
They both opt-outed at the... Oh, there's the Moon Pearl!
Okay, there we go. Moon Pearl on Landmos. I mean, it's not a huge surprise at this point. As we mentioned, there's not a lot of places it could be right now. Yeah, King's Tomb is also an option since we did find those mitts. That's a very good point. But it's no longer an option since we did already find the Moon Pearl.
Right, and we have full Dark World access now.
Death Mountain living up to its name for John.
Yep.
Now, John and DJDarkwingD have sort of had this back and forth banter over, you know, how they're going to face each other in the finals. But I think John's gonna have to put up a slightly better performance than dying 3 times on Death Mountain if that's going to come to fruition here with Ehseezed taking the first step into the Dark World.
And first step goes to check out the all-popular Hype Cave.
Yeah, I really like this routing. A lot of people really like to start in Village of Outcasts since you have access to 2 dungeons right away. But if you already have the Titan's Mitts, then you can take this route directly into into the Village of Outcasts through the bottom route, check out the dig game on the way in, and sort of have that all taken care of if you have to do Smith Chain later.
And we did find a bottle in there today.
At this point, we'll take it. We'll take it because we have the mirror, and that's our first bottle. So when we get to Village of Outcasts, we can quick turn that into stick.
Village of Outcasts is the red pendant, Meyer the blue pendant, and Ice Palace the green pendant. Our 5-6 crystals are in Skull Woods and Turtle Rock.
Yeah, so it's good news for Skull Woods since we have the Fire Rod. A little bit bad news on anytime I see Pendant Thieves Town, it's a little irritating because it's a very easily accessible dungeon, easy to clear, not a lot of requirements. And there's a decent amount of checks in there. Ooh, we have another sword on Stumpy.
And we upgrade to the bacon sword, and Stumpy's got our bacon sword today.
But yeah, Pendant Thieves Town it's kind of a rough spot to be in because it's like, okay, well, it's not that slow, but do you invest the time into it? It's a lot less obvious of a choice to take when it's a pendant, but it's so easy for things to be in there because again, it's not locked behind anything at all.
Right, but here's the main question: do you just run in there and check the first 4, and if you don't find a progressing item, do you just nope out of there?
Yeah, see, that's the question. The first 4 are fairly it's a no-brainer to check those because again, it's pretty quick. One of them is guaranteed to be the big key because you need that to access the back. But if you're not lucky, it could be you could have big key, the one small key in Thieves Town, the map, and the compass all in the first 4 chests. So you do all that for nothing. All 4 of the items are in the back. Yeah. So at that point, I'd say you maybe want to continue on to the back if you've only seen 1, maybe 2 items. If you've seen 3 or 4 in the front, well, I guess you won't see 4, but if you've seen 3 in the front, then you probably call it good.
Yeah. And we see John picking up the mirror from Hera, so that was one of the items that we missed.
Yeah, we saw the mirror on the big chest, so...
Mirror was in the smaller chest.
Yeah, okay.
Big chest had a key.
So we were mistaken, it was not in Desert. I was watching John at the time that we noticed that Ehseezed had that in Desert. Ooh, taking a fall.
And Ehseezed going through everyone's favorite egg cave. And gives up the 5 rupees. And we are taking Jeremiah home.
I'm watching with bated breath as John attempts to finish up this Moldorm fight. You'd see most people here sticking their sword out, because if you get knocked back by Moldorm while you're holding your sword out, you can always sort of squeak your way back onto the ledge, and really the only danger, if you could really call it that, is that you end up poking the tail with the sword rather than getting the hammer hitbox, but even that's, progress. John playing it really risky here by doing it that way, but takes it down.
Yep. And over on Ehseezed's side, we find the swag net.
So what items are we looking at now that we need to see before we are in go mode?
All right. Well, I'm gonna say either the Bomba. Well, I'm gonna either say the Bombus or Ether for Total Rock. We definitely need to, and we definitely need to see the Ice Rod and the Red Cane and the Flippers. Well, yeah. So we need the Flippers. One of the other two missing medallions: the Ice Rod and the Red Cane.
Yeah, it's possible we'll need the flute. Depending on what's in Mire, but yeah, again, it's going to be the hard required items at this point. We know we need flippers, we know we need Samaria, and we know we need Ice Rod. We may not need anything other than Quake, but it's not guaranteed at this point. John going to the Dark World in bunny form. And I think not much of anything in the front of Thieves Town. A full heart container, which is nice, but...
Right. John doing the Super Bunny Cave.
Yeah, so named because the Super Bunny glitch can be activated by falling down a hole, which you do as a matter of course while going through this cave here. So you're able to check these two chests in it, even without the Moon Pearl. And
there's the silvers.
That's... So, John has found both bows before Ehseezed has found a single one. Neither of them in logic yet, by the way. One of them locked by Moon Pearl, one of them locked by Flippers. Moon Pearl is accessible for John. We still don't know where the Flippers are.
John picking up the powder.
Ehseezed does have the Tempered Sword here, but the heart count is a little bit low. So this is going to be a little bit of a tense fight with Mothula here. And now there's not much left for John to do, then go and check Desert. You know, we are still in the running for vanilla flippers. It also is worth noting that Samaria and Flippers, two of our Go Mode items, cannot be on the pedestal. However, the Ice Rod can be.
Right.
So if we find the Ice Rod, then the Pedestal Dream is dead. However, if Ice Rod is on pedestal, or behind any item, such as, you know, the shovel, the mushroom, or one of the flute checks, then we might still need to do the pedestal. But as soon as we see the Ice Rod, we know we don't have to do ped.
All right, Ehseezed taking on the giant moth.
And tempered spins are not going to do anything against this boss. Nicely done.
Goes. And all that for 20 rupees. But more importantly, crystal number 2.
Yeah, I believe that might have been both Skullwood's items.
I think so too. Actually,
it's definitely one.
Yeah, stand correct then. That's crystal number 3 for him.
Yes, still has not done Eastern Palace because they've
And
yet to find the bow.
right, but we are getting the all-important ped check.
Spoiling everyone's fun. I was hoping we could wait until we saw the ice rod. Now, it could be a while before Ehseezed finds one of those bows. Because they would have to either invest the time into another fake flipper or find the, the factual flippers. Or decide to go up Death Mountain again just to do the Dark World checks. To find either of those bows. And if the one in Super Bunny is our first logical bow, for instance, if flippers are bow locked in pod, then it could be a very long time before Ehseezed runs into one of them.
Right. And just a piece of heart up there on the Bumper Cave ledge.
And John gets his Moon Pearl. And now I'm curious to see where John goes after this. I think we may see John make the play Hype Cave maybe into Pod. That wouldn't be the worst idea in the world, given that Pod is full clearable, it's a crystal, and it's a fairly rich dungeon. May not be worth leaving the Village of Outcasts, Thieves Town, into the clearable Skull Woods area, since that's a lot of checks on its own, especially taking that South Dark World route.
Right.
But Pod is pretty juicy.
And Ehseezed checking out Graveyard Ledge for a piece of heart.
And now we're gonna get to see. Okay, Ehseezed is going up the mountain again. So, fortunately for them, they're going to find that bow. I would be astounded if they don't, because they'd somehow have to come up the mountain a second time to do Dark World checks and not do Super Bunny Cave, which would be very, very strange.
Right. But now he can, since he has the Moon Pearl, he can also knock out Hookshot Cave as well too.
Though with the other bow on flips, it may not be out of the question that it gets skipped entirely. Or, I mean, not on flips, on hobo. Because that's I mean, it could happen. He could route it back in, but it's having done the other flippers checks, the hobo is the most out of the way flippers check to do, I would say.
Right.
Yeah, without having found flippers, this was the more likely one for Ehseezed to find first. If we found flippers earlier, then we might have found the hobo one. But so we had bow on hobo and bow on the one that Ehseezed just picked up in Super Bunny Cave. John has found both.
And into the and there's the Red King.
So oh yeah, of course, John didn't do Hookshot Cave. Yeah, that's the drawback of doing Super Bunny Cave is you can do Super Bunny Cave, but that's about it without the Moon Pearl.
And it is
and Quake. We don't need another medallion. Do we see a dive here? At this point, I might do it personally. If I've only got one medallion, I just picked up the Cane of Samaria. I've got Fire Rod. Hey, you know, I'm up here. If the Ice Rod is in Turtle Rock, I came up here just to do some checks, but I got a crystal out of it, you know, and it's a 5/6. The other 5/6, in fact.
Right.
So I would say that going in right now is not a bad play. It eats up a lot of time if you need to come back, but it could save you a lot of time, especially if you go back down the mountain. Then you kind of force yourself to. Well, he's not doing it. I think he's probably gonna just go for. Well, we haven't seen either invulnerability item. He's probably going to do Spike Cave anyway. Or oh,
Ether tablet.
This, you still could play this into Turtle Rock Dive.
Yep.
I'm a little less certain about it now, but
let's see what we get. We have from the Ether tablet just 50 rupees raining from the sky.
yeah, it opts not to do the Turtle Rock Dive. It would be exciting, but it's reasonable to not do it.
Right.
I was trying to hype it up, but that's okay. Yeah, luckily for John, Ice Palace is not in logic, so Samaria will be of no help there. Neither is Misery Mire. So it seems the only item that has been left out in the rain up on Dark Death Mountain for John is the Cane of Samaria, which is needed right up there anyway.
Right.
The danger is that John spends too much time down, you know, on the ground looking for the Cane of Samaria there.
And Ehseezed doing a saving quit.
And with that bow, Ehseezed is going to go over towards the Palace of Darkness area. Probably going to take a peek at the pyramid, since we have very, very little reason to go there any other way.
Right. Who knows? Maybe flippers could be right here on the pyramid ledge. No, it's a piece of heart.
Gonna grab it. Why not?
Yep.
Fills up the hearts. Completes a new heart container. I know myself, I have taken the time to, you know, check how many pieces of heart I have before deciding whether or not to leave a piece of heart. Because you never know when you're not going to see any more full heart containers for the rest of the run. Or maybe even, you know, no armor.
Right.
So it's you take what you can get. If it's going to give you another heart, may as well pick it up.
So Ehseezed making their way over to Catfish.
Yeah, in the absence of flippers, this isn't a bad idea. You'd like to route it in with your Zora checks, your Waterfall Fairy checks, if you haven't done them yet. But if it's going to be a while yet before you find the flippers, you may as well not orphan this one. Take the opportunity. I would imagine we see a Zora play here.
And 300 rupees for from the Catfish.
And as I mentioned before, vanilla flippers are in play.
20 rupees up on the Zora lens.
That's exactly what you want to see when you're making a play for King Zora without the flippers. Otherwise, if it's something you want, then you know you got to come back unless King Zora gives you those flippers.
Right.
I mean, unless you cheat.
Nope, Zora gives us a very expensive $500 bottle.
It's useful. It's not a bad thing to get. Was it worth the time and money? I don't know. Probably not. Most runners would say no. John going into the back of Thieves Town, apparently not being satisfied with what he found in the front.
Right. He's got to know what's back there. Still, we abandoned the 2 chests at Waterfall Cave.
Yeah, can't really get them easily right now. I do like this play from John. I find sometimes that a lot of people are a little bit hesitant to commit to Thieves Town, despite it being a relatively quick and easy dungeon. It doesn't bite you as hard as many other dungeon dives can. It's a fairly straightforward dungeon. There's only one way through. It's not terribly dangerous. You don't really get lost, and you sort of know where the logic is concerning the dungeon at basically every point. It's one of the easiest Dark World dungeons to wrap your head around in terms of rando logic. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not what you want to see in the attic. If you're going in the back of Pendant Thieves Town, you want to get those items early. I mean, if you commit to this back, you full clear it if you have to, but you hope you don't. And again, it would be a better play if it was the green pendant. However, the green pendant is Ice Palace.
And everyone's other favorite extortionist, Kiki.
I far prefer Kiki because you always know what you're getting.
Right.
You're getting pod access no matter what. It's a reliable little monkey.
Right.
Now, as Ehseezed goes through Palace of Darkness here, which I was thinking John was going to get to first, but it shows what I know. John is finishing up Thieves Town. Looks like it's going to be a full clear. On the note of Pendant Ice Palace, logical access to Pendant Ice is going to come at the same time that we have access to our Crystal Swamp Palace. So there's going to be the question, it's going to be a no-brainer to go to Swamp first, but if we don't see the Ice Rod by then, and we go through Swamp without seeing the Ice Rod, we're going to need to wonder, do we have to go down Ice Palace for the Ice Rod?
I hope. Well, we know how chat is. They probably would love to see that.
Yeah, the other possible unfortunate location would only show up if we see the flute. John takes care of blind very handily. Right.
Nice play on that. Very well scripted.
Yeah, I think that the clear on that, because John must have known that last check was going to be a map. But at that point, when you're that deep in Thieves Town, you may as well just finish it off, because John hasn't checked the ped. So John doesn't know it's just couch cash. So that's sort of covering your bases in case it suddenly turns into a ped seed later. It's a good play. It costs a little bit of time, but not nearly as much as going all the way back again if it becomes necessary would. Unfortunately, the Thieves Town play not paying off.
Right. Meanwhile, in Palace of Darkness, Ehseezed picking up a bomb pack and the big key.
Yeah, so in the first two, so there are only, in all of these chests in the front area, up to two of them can be non-small keys. So this is going to be a small key, and the one down in the basement is also going to be a small key, since we've already seen two things that aren't small keys. So if Ehseezed had been privy to that little piece of knowledge, he would have just jumped straight down and grabbed that small key and been on his way.
Yep. And speaking of that, there's some good videos out there on YouTube that explain the logic of how the keys are laid out in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, and it's sort of hard on the fly to sort of reconstruct the logic, because it's based around, okay, what is the worst way you could possibly use your keys? in Palace of Darkness, you need 1 key after the big key to get to the boss. So how could you suboptimally use your keys in order to lock yourself out? It has to be able to give you keys after you use them.
Right. And one thing is, no keys will ever be in Dark Maze. So that means there's probably not going to be a key in the Helmless Hallway.
Yeah, I forget the rule on this. If you get through all of these checks, having checked the front and seen all the small keys there, and I think if you have at least 3, then you know that this is going to not be a small key.
Right. And it's a full heart container.
Yeah, and key logic in some of these more, I can say, complex key logic dungeons, it all comes down to, little shorthand rules like that. Okay, you know, if this, then you can conclude this, rather than having to be like, okay, how many doors are there? How many keys are still in there? Rather than keeping track of all that, you just sort of learn how it works in these certain locations that it's kind of important to know.
Right. There's a good video, if I'm allowed to plug this, that Koi made explaining the logic for Palace of Darkness. So if anyone new out there, there's a lot of good videos, a lot of good. And John taking the death.
Has the fairy, though.
Yeah, but has the insurance marker, so he has a fairy. But like I was saying before that, John taking the death there. There's a lot of good videos out there. Community is always glad to help out anyone new and that's basically what also this tournament is for too, to showcase off the new runner. For new runners, they were paired up with mentors during the first 4 weeks of the tournament, 2 during the Ambrosia and 2 during the Open Seed section of the tournament.
Yeah, and so far, haven't seen anything in pod that's of any note. And we know that there's not going to be anything in Eastern either.
Right.
Other than, the Cane of Burna, which is kind of helpful. But, so, with that in mind, where do we see our runners needing to go next? I'm thinking we've got Purple Chest turn in. That's a big thing that's in play here.
I'm going to agree with that. Purple, yeah, the Purple Chest being turned in.
It's either that or that Turtle Rock dip I mentioned earlier, because there's a lot of Turtle Rock that's in play. Everything other than Trinex is fully clearable.
Right. Now, if I was Ehseezed, I'd probably take the gamble into TR.
Yeah, not having if you had the flute, you'd quick do Purple Chest. However, if you don't have the flute, it's pretty hard to quick do Purple Chest. You can save and quit and go to Link's house, but if you do that, then you can't combo that into Bombos tablet check, which I don't know if we've seen from either or both runners.
No, Ehseezed checked the Ether tablet, so we have not seen Bombos tablet check.
Yeah, so if you have Bombos tablet to check too, it's kind of painful because then you have to go back to the Dark World if you save and quit to Link's house, or go all the way in the Dark World. I would imagine we'd see the save and quit since we've already seen Cave 45 and Stumpy. John setting up for the bomb jump here to check large chest.
And Ehseezed checking down Helmsar King and gets $50, 50 rupees rewarded for that, but more importantly, picked up his next crystal.
So we've got both runners at four crystals apiece and 5 dungeons in John's case. Again, sort of just to reiterate, is that Thieves Town is a pretty quick clear. Hasn't set him back too much in terms of dungeon progress. Although, as I say that, Ehseezed is going to have a fairly quick Eastern Palace here, since again, as a light world dungeon, it's short.
Right.
John wants nothing to do with those pterodactyls there. Interesting to note, John is still on that green mail. And only 7 hearts. So, considerably squishier than Ehseezed is right now.
Right, who's completed his first 4 row of hearts.
Now, I don't recall where that mail came from. Was that in Hookshot Cave as well, or was that somewhere else?
Yeah, no, the mail was from Hookshot Cave.
Because that's the one big thing that Ehseezed has done that John has not. So still the main value of Hookshot Cave is basically looking to be, you know, gearing up for Turtle Rock, which is kind of nice in John's case. That big question mark is really only going to lead to something that's useful up there. So you can safely gamble that you don't need to go up there and then come back down, because that's not going to be the case.
Right.
Although, we may have to, as the flippers could be inside. Ehseezed might have known that if he'd taken the risk and gone down Turtle Rock when I was hyping it up. But no, that's okay. You can play it smart. Be as sensible as you like.
I mean, it could be worse, but I'm not sure if it could happen that the flippers being inside the waterfall.
We haven't seen Magic Bat from either runner yet.
No.
I imagine we will see that from John right now. Well, John kind of ruining the advantage of taking the hammer entrance, because that portal's not usable anymore.
Right. Ehseezed making their way to the back part of Eastern. And the Mad Batter gives us, drum roll please, only 300 rupees.
Only 300? That's quite a bounty.
Yep.
So that's one fetch quest taken care of. We've still got Mushroom, which is yet to show up, and the Shovel, which we haven't seen either. Now this quick kill on these 2 red Igors that we see from Ehseezed there, it's a lot tougher than it looks, especially if your first reaction, right, is to just try and do it as fast as you can. But I found it's a lot easier if you back up a little bit and give yourself space for them to sort of come at you, because the timing window is a little bit tight. Once you get used to it, it's not too bad. But Ehseezed takes care of the Armos fairly handily and grabs that half magic and crystal number 5.
Yeah, he's been knocking out those crystal dungeons very fastly and very efficiently too.
Yeah, so we're running out of checks at this point. Turtle Rock is looking more and more and more likely. John is going here and checking Bombo's tablet. We missed Purple Chest turn in, but I'm assuming it wasn't much because we're seeing Bombo's tablet right afterwards. There's the Mushroom.
Oh, there's the shroom.
So we've got Mushroom. We've got Green Pendant on Ice Palace, which could be the Ice Rod. However, it can't be the Flippers, since those are logically required to access Ice Palace. Mushroom could be the Flippers. Flippers could be in Turtle Rock. Ice Rod could be in Turtle Rock. The Flippers are the big one that is running out of locations, though, just because it can't be an Ice Palace.
Right.
And until we find the flute, nothing can be in Mire. If we find the flute on any of these remaining checks, then that opens something up. If we find the flute before we find the Flippers, then yeah, we're looking at a doozy here. Though having said that, running out of checks at just over an hour left is pretty speedy.
Right.
And speak to these runners' ability to get it done. Oh, that's right. We didn't never turn in the bottle for the sick kid. He gives us 20 rupees for it. That's kind of him. Not the hero that Hyrule needs, though. Yeah, so now Ehseezed is going to be catching up, doing the rest of the Smith Chain and the Magic Bat, while John goes and clears out Palace of Darkness. To no avail, as we unfortunately know. Now, this is such a painful position to be in, just because we know that you know, it's getting more and more likely that it's up on Turtle Rock, but it's really a unattractive proposition to go up to Turtle Rock without, and you know, leave chests down here, you know, leave checks, because you're looking for the flippers, something you have to come back for that could open up the Ice Rod. You're not just hoping for Ice Rod and TR at this point. It's pretty nasty. Yeah, as we see, Ehseezed deciding to go back and finish off Thieves Town as well. That just sort of shows how unattractive going up the mountain yet again is looking to be. Because going up the mountain now without the flippers is admitting that you're going back up a third or fourth time. Now we'll see if John knows his pod key logic. Doesn't look like it, unless he hasn't done Bowlocked side yet.
No, he just came from the Bowlock side.
Yeah, so it looks like John doesn't know that front of pod information either. It's not a huge loss. It doesn't cost much to check that chest. So between the two runners, what we have left for not in Turtle Rock is the mushroom turn-in. And I think is that it? Is that all we've got?
I believe so, yeah.
Yep, so it's either on that. Neither runner knows this because it's just what we've seen between the two of them. Because I don't think we saw Catfish from John, nor have we seen Zora yet. So I imagine after Eastern we're going to.
We did see Zora.
Was it from John though, or was it from?
No, it's Ehseezed.
Yeah, so I would imagine after pod here, John is going to go up, Mushroom, planning to do Catfish and Zora, but is if we find an item on Mushroom, that's great for John. Otherwise, we're probably going to see those other two checks come in as well. And then it's up to Turtle Rock. Like I was saying earlier, the Turtle Rock dive is real. I don't know that John even knows that it's Quake.
No, he never went up there to check.
Understandable, given that he was not under the influence of the Moon Pearl at the time. But yeah, that's a great equalizer. No matter how strong a lead may be, if you've got a check that unattractive, like an incomplete turtle rock dive staring you in the face, you're gonna end up with both runners just sort of clearing everything else as fast as they can. And if they both do it pretty well, you sort of end up getting to turtle rock at around the same time, no matter what. Somebody needs to make a big brain play to really get a lead off of that. And Ehseezed is going immediately to turn in that mushroom. Doesn't really have anything left, I don't think. Having done Bombos, having done Purple Chest now. Well, yeah, decides to go north towards where that check is instead of south, further away from it. That's a good play in my opinion.
Alright, so let's see what that mushroom gives us.
If it's the flippers, then whoo boy, this
Just
that's the rescue of a lifetime there.
Yep.
So otherwise we've got flippers in Turtle Rock for Ice Rod who knows where.
No, and
it's not. It was Turtle Rock all along. You should have done it. You should have done it when you had the chance.
Well, now wait a minute. Yeah, I kind of see that's on Turtle Rock. Flipper's probably in Waterfall Cave.
Yeah, that's the thing. We know that flippers have to be in Turtle Rock, but Ice Rod, not necessarily. Ice Rod could be anywhere behind flippers, because we now pretty much know that we got to get those flippers next. There's really no other option. The only other option would be, again, there's the shovel, and then there's the flute from Meyer area, and the flippers could be behind any of that. If that's the case, then we see an almost full clear of Turtle Rock guaranteed. I think Ehseezed is probably looking to set up fake flipper to go into ice. Yeah, this is a decent play. Oh no, he's checking hobo because he forgot to do that, and so he's gonna be picking up silvers. So yeah, that Turtle Rock prevented that scenario that I mentioned earlier of
and Red Mill on the island, Lake Hylia.
Oh, DJDarkwingD pointing out that with Turtle Rock being our other 5/6 crystal, if we see Ice Rod, then we could find the flippers on the pyramid. So this is a very interesting. This is what's so great about Turtle Rock. It's such a high barrier of entry dungeon. There are a lot of things that are required to get in, but there are a number of really crucial things that aren't required for it at all. Notably flippers, flute. So any of that stuff, if you find all of the items required to clear Turtle Rock, they could lock other items behind stuff that you get in there. It's doesn't happen often, but
right.
Yeah, Ehseezed is doing this time with the Moon Pearl is going to be able to check this waterfall fairy location. I imagine if this comes up empty, we still see that Ice Palace play. Well, maybe not, because it's not a crystal. So it would be a little hopeful. Yeah, I think John missed the pyramid earlier, so he's doing that now. Yep, as Ehseezed goes into Ice Palace.
Yes.
Both of these runners really don't want to go up to Turtle Rock. The good thing about this Ice Palace play is, again, it's not in logic, but if you find the Ice Rod here, you could avoid a potential, flips in Turtle Rock, Ice Rod in Ice Palace, back up to Turtle Rock to actually clear it this time. So breaking logic makes a lot of sense if it's going to lead you to the Ice Rod in this case. Because there's a almost guarantee, because flippers can't be here, but flippers basically have to be in Turtle Rock at this point. Which, right. If the runners know that, they would love to break logic and find Ice Rod first. The bad news is Ice Rod could easily be in Swamp Palace with those 6 juicy checks in there, which means that, okay, well, you have to go up to Turtle Rock to get the flippers anyway. But if you can find the Ice Rod first, you may as well clear Turtle Rock for your troubles. Of course, this all looks very silly if flippers are in the first chest in Turtle Rock, which is why I like the idea of the Turtle Rock dive. Very nice icebreaker setup. Especially good with Luigi's block pushing animation. Yeah, but the amount of time you'd save by finding Ice Rod in Ice Palace versus following logic, getting flippers, and then checking Ice Palace. If the Ice Rod ends up being in Ice Palace, it's so much faster to get it now than to wait until you actually have the flippers. Yeah, nobody wants to be the guy who goes up to Turtle Rock to get the flippers when they don't have to. Of course, the first items in Turtle Rock are of course going to be the flippers and the Ice Rod, but that's neither here nor there. That's just a randomizer. John making the Turtle Rock play. Not breaking logic, he's just accepting his fate. You gotta go up to Turtle Rock. Not gonna be hopeful to find that Ice Rod. Or perhaps it's in Turtle Rock. Could be. Only time will tell. So, if the Ice Rod is in Ice Palace, this is Ehseezed's lead. If otherwise, this is looking like John taking a little bit of a lead here. Because John is guaranteed to be getting those flippers first. Yeah, that's the other thing, too. Hookshot Cave is up here, so seeing that cane, he's going to go directly to Turtle Rock. I don't see any question in John's mind about that once that cane shows up in Hookshot Cave. It's obviously straight to Turtle Rock. You don't leave and then come back up here, especially since there's nothing to leave for. There's no reason to leave since there's nothing else to check. Yeah, so looking like that Hookshot Cave, unless we haven't seen the Ice Rod here yet. So Ehseezed is hoping. I don't know if we've seen all 3 items in Ice Palace yet. But even if we have, there's still that green pendant. But that's going to be the one hope for Ehseezed here.
And we know for the fact that it can't be on the ped.
Yeah, since the Ice Rod is not rupees. Ooh, misses the spin. So now he's gotta do this proper.
But having an extra blue goo in the back pocket to help.
Yeah, that's a little bold to take the opportunity to take the extra fire rod hits. Exhaust his magic at 1 heart. This boss can get a little spooky sometimes. Takes care of it pretty easily though. Well played. The fabled
And,
small key.
Yep.
Interesting. Samaria locked Ice Palace. So if this green pendant is the is our whatchamacallit, the ice rod, then logic would dictate that you have to go up Turtle Rock to get the Cane of Samaria, into Turtle Rock to get the flippers, and then down into to full clear Ice Palace to get the green pendant for Ice Rod, which would be a lark.
Right. And as we see John making their way through TR right now.
Now the moment of truth is coming up here. If this green pendant is not if this green pendant is not the Ice Rod, then John has taken the lead. We could safely say. Because that is the last thing that Ehseezed could hope for to make the eventual Turtle Rock dive a little bit more worthwhile, is to find that Ice Rod first. No longer possible. Now, I don't recall if we saw Spike Cave this run from John.
No, we did not.
No. So that's still a possibility.
And we are getting that Spike Cave check.
Yeah, if it's in there, then that was a definite misplay on John's part, because John did go over there to check Ether Tablet. Right color, wrong item. Yeah, opts to save and quit and go to the mountain cave because it's a little bit faster than exiting Spike Cave and certainly less expensive.
Yep.
Yeah, and so far we haven't seen much in Turtle Rock as far as things we need to find. Flippers have to show up sooner or later. Ice Rod, not necessarily. The thing about Turtle Rock is it's very backloaded. There's a lot you have to go through to get the meat of it. There's the Ice Rod. So, if I had been in Ehseezed's place, I know I personally would have made that decision, whether or not it was a good one. That's the decision I would have made, and it would have made me look like a genius, despite the fact that I'm not one. I mean, the good news is Ehseezed gets to clear it too. The bad news is he's now firmly behind John. John is about half of Turtle Rock ahead. And that's no good, as Sonic the Hedgehog would say.
Yep.
Yeah, I always say anytime I come across Turtle Rock, I have one medallion, and I have Fire Rod and Samaria already. I take that as a sign. I just go in. What's the worst that could happen?
It being Squadouche.
Yeah, but I mean, like, at least it was fun. And that's what this is all about, right? We want to have fun.
Yeah.
It's a video game.
Yeah.
Cave coming up.
And it always offers a new challenge every time we play.
Yeah, so now pointing out, we have seen the Ice Rod first before the Flippers. So now it is very possible for the Flippers to be in the pyramid. That's the one thing that Ice Rod opens up. In this case, since Turtle Rock is a 5/6 crystal, Ice Rod is worth 2 extra checks on top of the 1 it is usually worth. It's usually worth just Trinex. Now we've got the pyramid as well.
And as Sean makes their way through the crystal rolling room, picks up Ether.
We may need that if we see the flute. We could see flute in pyramid. We could see shovel in pyramid, flute vanilla spot, and flippers on Vitreous. That would probably be the worst case scenario here.
Right.
All right, laser bridge coming up. The infamous laser bridge. Four checks, pretty dense, but a pain in the batoot to get to. Half magic and burn it makes it a lot easier. It's usually not enough for all four though, especially with the magic you have to use to get here. With the invulnerability frames though, it's not too bad. Yeah, decides to take that blue potion. Just for the magic refill. And nothing. You know, honestly, I think half of the fun of theory crafting the worst case scenario is just, you know, sort of, you know, you cover yourself when you're thinking, you're playing, you're trying to think, okay, what is the worst possible scenario? Because you have to be thinking not only of what would be the best case scenario, because that's obviously the fastest if it turns out to be correct, but how badly are you going to be bitten if it turns out to be the worst case scenario? So there's a lot of sort of economics that goes into rando routing. No, John able to avoid the oil slick for now. Despite some ice rod misses on the firehead, the ice head decided to take its time, which is very fortunate. Very nicely done. I haven't been counting the checks. This may be an item, this may not be. So flippers were not internal rock, but we got the ice rod. So now they're behind pyramid somehow. That is the only new thing we can do now that we could not do before. Of course, otherwise, except for Spike Cave, which John did not do. Oh, John did not check Ether Tablet either, so there's a little bit of time for Ehseezed to sort of catch up a little bit. But yeah, it's a good idea for John to check these before leaving the mountain. So if you leave the mountain, boy, you don't want to have to come back for flippers in Spike Cave. Yeah, and so Ehseezed is now just a laser bridge and Trinex behind John. John having finished up those checks that Ehseezed did earlier. And now John is off to the pyramid. So for as exhaustive as we've been, still being sub 130 is very good here. Given that this is either going to be last location or second to last location, since nothing other than these 2 checks is still available here. It is worth noting, though, that even with this advantage going to John here, Ehseezed has a full Ice Palace clear on John right now, so Ehseezed's performance has been very good thus far. So now we're gonna get to find, is this where the ire of this seed ends, or does this seed still have some misfortune to breathe upon these runners?
Well, I hope no more misfortune.
Well, as you say that, Ehseezed.
And there's the flippers.
Okay. No, Flippers hunt is over. No long fetch quests, no long circumlocutus routing. We just have the flippers now, just do Swamp Palace, and we're up the mountain. So, John is in go mode officially. Ehseezed about, I'd say maybe 2 to 3 to 5 minutes behind. Probably not 5. 2 to 3, I'd say. John, you can't mirror to the dark world from the light world, can you? John, there's some preparation that you need to do first. John, realizing this, decides to Pegasus Boots dash to the north screen and perform the forgotten task. Yeah, but a fairly no-brainer left side swamp skip, though. Nothing over there that we care about. We've got silvers, we've got tempered sword. That's about as much as anybody really needs, especially at this level of play.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would say, even if you're just at master sword and have silvers, you wouldn't check left side swamp for a sword. If there's a sword in left side swamp, you say, screw it. No, not worth the time. Yeah, I mean, they know where the mail upgrade is if they want it. They could pop over and grab it because it's on Lake Hylia Island. Yeah, but interesting, both of these runners had the exact same item layout because they have done all of the same checks. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what John was hoping was in there. I guess that's a great place for a sword to be because there's always a sword in Swamp Palace. But it's not a pendant, so it's not guaranteed.
And more importantly, Ehseezed also picking up their flippers.
As we all knew they would. Yeah, so now they're both in the exact same spot. It's down to execution at this point and GT key routing. Diver down with Samaria, walk into the wall, jump down onto the water. Game doesn't know what to do. shovel. Actually, that shovel has come in handy for me before on the GT climb if I'm a dumb and forget to have enough arrows. At the very least, I can just mirror out, dig around in the front for a while, and hopefully find some before too long. We have some discussion chat over Ehseezed's name. I would imagine it's an A rather than an S. The reason for that being that the last one being Z makes me think Canada, which makes the A go with A. You know, that's just my personal interpretation. We're going to have to ask in the interview. I think that'll be our first question. Going to be extremely important to get that out of the way as soon as possible. The burning question on everybody's minds.
But more importantly, John carrying out the little puff balls.
Yeah, and at this point, 2 tempered sword spins or a single silver arrow will take it out. I like to go for the silver arrow myself, but with the menu time plus the fact that, you know, it doesn't really save any time if you miss, I think leads a lot of people to not go for that. And with that, that's our last crystal. So get your Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game guesses in chat. Numbers 1 through 22, 0 is not included. 1 for each check in Ganon's Tower. Where do you think the big key will be found? We will be going by John's discoveries.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with the chest I always go with, number 9.
Now this is going to be the big. This could be a game decider because the Ehseezed is a little bit behind, but not outside the range of the Ganon Tower big key placement. I would say that John last locationing the key in tile room and Ehseezed picking it up, you know, third, would be more than enough. It could even be, you know, full right through Armos versus, you know, left side in Rando room, for instance. That could make up a lot of this time. So this is going to be interesting to pay attention to as Ehseezed swiftly approaches the final crystal boss here. Probably going to be entering the boss arena around the same time that John is going down Ganon's Tower basement.
All right, here we go.
And upon entry, the guessing will close, because otherwise people can cheat. And we will have none of that.
Right. And that's no good, as Sonic would say.
That's no good.
And
Nobody likes a cheater.
Right.
We're going to see right side here first.
All right, here we go in my best game show announcer voice. In 1 key. In 2 is the other key. Oh, we're going to see a full right.
Yeah, that's not uncommon if you see a key or two in Hope Room. Skipping tile room for now. That's wise, given how long we were searching for those flippers. You know that you can't have a big lead on your opponent at this point. It's simply not possible having actually last location of those flippers. So as much as I love the early tile room play, it's simply wrong.
4, but yep. And there's the metal sword in number 4. Number 5 is the 20 rupees. Number 6 is 1 rupee.
Now this could be interesting if it's if we get it left side, and Ehseezed saves some time there but misses the golden sword. It's not a huge difference. It's certainly not as big a difference as tempered versus master.
Right.
Or tempered or gold sword silverless even versus tempered silvers. It's a pretty marginal difference, especially with half magic and half magic available. We don't have the cape though, which is helpful to make tempered sword one cycle a lot easier.
8 had bombs. 9 was a full heart container. 10 has 10 arrows. 11 for the cape.
And there's that cape. John's not going to be needing that. But if Ehseezed goes full left, then they'll be picking up the cape rather than the gold sword. So that's going to equalize that even further. So that gold sword is not going to be a huge game maker here.
12 was a small key.
Ehseezed entering Ganon's tower now. Unfortunately, at this point, we know that Dark Magician strats aren't going to really save a lot of time here. I think I've seen more full right and Dark Magician than Hope Room full left recently. And I think part of that is, you know, just the time that full left sort of takes versus check density. It can sometimes not be that great.
Right. Chest number 13, the Arrow of Destiny.
Tile room's still on the table, though.
Yeah. And here we go with 4 more chests. 14, 15 has the big key. Chest number 15.
And having seen the gold sword already, and knowing where that red mail is, they really don't have any reason to open those other 2 chests. Ehseezed might decide to open them just in case the gold sword is in one of them. But are we seeing full left? It looks like we are seeing full left from Ehseezed, so that's gonna be a little bit of time made up. We do see Ehseezed repeatedly falling into a hole, so that's going to be a little time lost.
And John making their way up the tower.
A stylish boomerang activation of those switches. Probably going to see it here as well. Ooh, misses it.
Alright, John entering the Gauntlet of Villains.
Yeah, Ehseezed losing some time to the incredibly swaggy strategy of using the boomerang there. Gives up, uses the cane instead. So yeah, that's some more time lost. It's a little unfortunate given that the routing was pretty good for where the big key ends up being.
Definitely.
And with that gold sword and silvers, we can't hope for too much time to be lost in the Ganon fight itself. So Ehseezed needs all the time he can make up here. So it's really painful to lose time trying to go fast. That's why a lot of the time I still just stick to my old standby of using the bombs for that section. There's almost no feeling worse than losing time being cute late into a run. Yeah, John making very good time up Ganon's tower.
Yep.
Ehseezed still struggling a little bit.
Alright, John's got to be a little bit careful here because if it goes up that well, we're hearing the chime. He could despawn the whole tower, but thankfully he does not.
Yeah, you saw him waiting it out a little bit. Sometimes, if you're okay on magic and you know that you lit those torches really quick, you can just head straight up and know that you've got plenty of time. If you spent a little bit of time between the time that you walk through that door and lighting that first torch, you'll sometimes want to, you know, play it safe, because if you walk up at that same instant, you will despawn everything, including the bosses that need to be completed in order to set the game in a winnable state. So yeah, not a desirable outcome, one would say. It's as good as dying to you know, anything at that point in the tower, really, because you have to do the whole thing again. John makes it through the gotcha room with the ice and the conveyor belts, and is on to advanced agonometry. Lesson 2. I believe that's double, nothing, double for John.
Right. And as he takes on everyone's favorite geometry wizard. And that's a triple. Ehseezed making their way through the Dark Magician room. The Wizrobe rooms. And John's going to go on to fight the Big Pig.
And the fight against Ganon begins. So if John doesn't spaghetti this race is cleanly in hand. And with that butter sword, that's not going to be a tall order.
Definitely.
I believe it's just 6 regular slashes with the gold sword in each of the first 2 phases.
Right, because it's 12 with the bacon sword.
And the obligatory 4 during phase 3. And the 4 arrows for phase 4.
Ehseezed takes down Moldorm and heads over to the Aga fight, checking the last chest for 20 rupees.
And John sets up the torch glitch. Sometimes not recommended if you have silvers, because lighting the torches with the fire rod lets you set up more easily this exact situation right there, which is great for a double silver arrow hit. And John is ready to GG himself into the fighter sword bracket finals.
So get your GGs in chat as John crosses the finish line with a time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and will move on to face DJDarkwingD.
As the prophecies foretold.
Yep. And Ehseezed not far behind on to his Aga 2 fight.
Yeah, it could have been extremely close if Ehseezed had a cleaner Ganon's Tower basement. the lead sort of stayed pretty consistent throughout the end with that some of those falls, those the boomerang mishaps, but overall very close race. Looks like we're going to try to get John in for an interview as Ehseezed tries to clean up this Ganon fight and secure a time not too far behind. Should be no real reason to rush here. I believe there's a couple fairies in reserve. At least one fairy. Probably a blue potion. If they don't have a blue potion, then I think this is probably not a well-advised attempt, since there's no magic in that bar.
I think he might have the blue potion still.
Yeah, I would expect if he did not have the blue potion, he would be jumping down that hole right now. And we are joined by JohnTheBranch himself.
Hey,
Well done,
John.
GG.
I am JohnTheBranch myself. I am your bottom tier winner, or well, bottom tier finalist, going against Darkwing next week.
Yeah, like I said earlier, as the prophecy foretold.
Yep, and you get to face off against DJ Darkwing, so we wish you the best of luck in that 2 out of 3 match. And Ehseezed taking down the big pig.
Yeah, the first 15 minutes of this race did not feel like it was foretold. It felt like Zelda.
Yeah.
Every single one of Ganon's minions was out for my blood.
Right. And John, you came back from being 0-1 to winning this in back-to-back.
It was terrifying the whole way after that first loss. My heart has not stopped beating since Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah, and again, like you said, even the beginning of this race did not look promising for you.
The 3 deaths going up. Now that's something I wanted to ask you about, the those deaths up there on Death Mountain.
Oh, the worst one was when a cabbage knocked me into a dead rock and it took out 2 of my 4 hearts. Yeah, that whole thing was a bit of a gamble. I said I'm in the neighborhood. I got boots now. Well, I've got boots. Let's make sure it's not an Ehseezed. Hey, well, I'm here. Let's go up Death Mountain. And boy, I have never had that hard time climbing Death Mountain since I was a child.
Yeah, the real thing that was puzzling about that is like you're really only hoping that the old man's got something or there's something in Spec Rock. Otherwise, there's not much for you up there with the items you had.
Yeah, it was a continuation of just checking Lumberjack Cave, really. I just said, you know what, I want to get Bonk Rocks out of the way, especially if anyone saw the match on Tuesday. I wanted to get Bonk Rocks out of the way. And then obviously after that, I'm like, well, this is the neighborhood. These are the checks to clear. And I got stubborn because I didn't want to abandon it and be the person that doesn't come back until the hour mark when there was progression right there in Spectacle Rock.
Right. And we're also joined by Ehseezed. GG to you.
GG's.
GG, Zed.
Yeah, this ended up being a really close race, mostly on the back of both of you actually last locationing those flippers in Pyramid Fairy.
It was hard not to.
Right. And both of you really hesitant to go up to Turtle Rock where the flippers clearly had to be one way or another, having checked everything else.
That was trip 4 out of 5 for me, or 3 out of 4, one of them.
I didn't want to go up without the ice rod, but considering I rolled the seed, of course ice rod was in TR.
Yeah,
Any
I
seed,
was
it's always
I was
in TR.
hinting when you first went up Ehseezed to Hookshot Cave and found the Cane of Samaria in there, and then went over to Turtle Rock and saw that it was Quake. I so wanted you to just go in there and just hope that Ice Rod was in there and you could just finish it out, because that would have been something else.
I really wanted to.
I can't blame you for
I
not
just
doing
couldn't.
it, but yeah, it's a hard play to make at that early. A little bit later, maybe you do it, but
You see how shy I was? I was just so afraid to go into any of the dungeons with hard bosses there because I was just so, once bitten, well, about 4 times bitten this seed.
yeah, and that's actually the biggest thing that won John the race here was the fact that John's first trip to Dark Death Mountain was just Super Bunny Cave because John hadn't done Desert Palace yet, so it didn't have the Moon Pearl, and so thus didn't have the Cane of Samaria and had all of Hookshot Cave left to do, which really nudged him up the mountain earlier instead of diving down into Ice Palace, which lost Ehseezed his lead.
Oh yeah, Ice Palace was the one place I didn't go. Yeah, because I didn't get those flippers. I just said the flippers are what's logical. I'm not doing a single out of logic check now. That's why I never went back for Pyramid Fairy after my first failure up there.
Yeah,
I
and that's
just
why
really did not want to go into TR without that ice rod.
yeah,
I
chat
didn't
was
want
really
to.
confused about that. But it's like, if it's flippers in Turtle Rock for Ice Rod in Ice Palace, this is a fantastic play. Didn't
And that's
turn out
kind
in
of
your
what I
favor,
was
but
banking on. That was kind of what I was banking on. The seed was too nice to me early. I was basically done with 2 crystals within 30 minutes because that's kind of just how the seed went for me. But
yeah,
I just knew something had to go wrong, but nothing really ended up going wrong except for that ice rod in TR.
But yeah, that Ice Palace play just sort of ate up the lead that you had, and because John didn't decide to do that, ended up going into Turtle Rock a few minutes ahead, and it just, since it was extremely linear from there, it was all down to execution, and it was fairly solid from both of you. I do want to needle you a bit for missing out on that boomerang swag though, Ehseezed.
I don't know why I couldn't get the second room. I just couldn't.
Don't worry, there was plenty of misplays on both ends. I'm sure. I mean, you saw me going into Swamp Palace at the end there, just so frazzled. Is it quicker to run back from Pyramid Fairy? Is it? You saw a lot of indecision in this seed, I'm sure.
Yeah, the most painful thing about that GT basement was that you went full left, which was the right play, and John went full right into full left. So you could have made up time if you hadn't spent so much time playing around with your silly red stick.
I like the boomerang swag. It's fun.
It is. It's super cool.
All right, well, Zed, that was a good series, wasn't it? We
was a
we
banger
brought it
of a
really
match.
close on all of these races.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's see. Next week you got to go against. You still got 2 or 3 races too next week. So yeah, we're still busy.
Right. Yep. I forgot about that. I do still have races, huh?
All right, give us the rest of the laundry list. What are all the other mistakes we both made for the rest of the seed?
Well, you did both miss the key logic in pod and ended up going to the going up to that chest in the middle of the that first room there.
I thought it had to be a key, but I didn't want to chance it. My brain said I could be wrong about this.
Yeah, the rule is that there can be at most 2 items out of all of those chests in the front that aren't small keys, and both of you had seen both of them already, so you should have been able to deduce that. But that's something that I only learned just recently, so no shame in not knowing that.
No, quite literally, as I was dropping down, I was like, wait, I have 2 keys. These are both keys.
Yeah.
Why am I here?
And I was saying, I'm pretty sure if I have 2 keys right now, this has to be a key. So same deal.
But it's one of those things. It's like, do I really trust my knowledge that much that I'm willing to possibly be wrong? No, not for the amount of time it would take.
Ehseezed, our wonderful restreamer is asking about how to pronounce our names. JTB or John are fine. You can call me anything as long as it's not intentionally offensive.
ACZ. Or, no, Z. Goddamn. I'm Z on some places, Z on other places. It's
Depends
confusing
on if you're in
sometimes.
America or Canada.
Yep. I
All
completely
right.
forgot
Well, have
about
we thanked
file
our
names
have we
until
thanked our
now.
crew recently, especially with the tracker who I'm going against starting maybe as soon as tomorrow.
Right. I think our tracker had a secret to reveal. The mode that was being selected. I regret to inform all of you that I have forgotten what it was since it was told to me just shy of 2 hours ago.
That's okay.
So-
He just unmuted himself. Darkwing, what is it?
We're going standard.
Oh, more standard. Yay, I like not having to change my layout.
I completely forgot about our file names until mine showed up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we did do that."
Yeah, that was brought out in advance. Well, if Mocha was announcing again, it was going to be JAYTEEBEE on my side and just Ed on your side, right?
Yep.
All right, well, good job, crew. Thanks for restreaming for us. It looks like it's time for us to duck out. And is there one more race tonight, or was this the last one?
I believe this was our last one for tonight.
All right, semifinals are over.
What a way to end it. Close race.
See everyone next week.
GG's.
Yep, have a good night, everyone. We'll see you next time for more Rando.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to draw this broadcast to a close. Make sure you check out the Go Mode podcast. It's yeah, I don't recall if it's weekly or bi-weekly. I think it's bi-weekly.
It's bi-weekly
Bi-weekly.
bi-weekly every Wednesday.
And it's fantastic community, great people. Thanks to our restreamer. Thanks to DJ Darkwing on the tracking, Yoko, my co-commentator. And yeah, we'll see you all next time.
And that will see you next time. Have a good night, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning to wherever you are. Be safe, and we'll see you next time for more of the Go Mode podcast mentor tournament. Have a good night, everyone.